Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how are my snipers doing today? Hope you guys are doing fantastic. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, today we're talking about the one, the only Exian. Now, there's some very, very big news surrounding Exian. We can see, ladies and gentlemen, roughly from when you're going to be watching this video, roughly in a day, there's going to be the test net Goliath, right? Because we can see 7 hours ago, it said 1 day, 11 hours. By the time this video gets obviously posted, there's going to be roughly 1 day left. And ladies and gentlemen, this is super, super exciting. We're going to be looking at, Exian and the potential move, right? Potential price or the move in price and just overall what the Goliath is about. Right, Goliath. Okay, I just tripped out for a second. Yeah, people are getting excited. People are getting excited. Buy the rumor, sell the news. Good luck, holders. I mean, yeah, we can see definitely a temporary price dip, which we will talk about. But manipulation is manipulation. But overall, fantastic news is always going to be an upside for crypto, right? If your crypto is coming out with a lot of good news, let's say like the Goliath with Exian, now, ladies and gentlemen, even if you don't see some type of pump in the short term, the long term is better, right? Because for something like Exian, let's say that the difference between, let's say how much we're supposed to pump and with the Goliath could be a big difference. It could be an extra 10%, 5%, 20%, 50%. Maybe it pumps double because of the Goliath. Maybe it pumps 10 times more because of the Goliath. The whole point is that when good news comes out, and obviously depending on the context of the news, it always adds some type of percentage. Exchange listings, partnership, they all have that extra percent that it's going to be pumping during its peak, right? And I'm super, super excited to see what the Goliath is going to bring us. When we go on Exian themselves, ladies and gentlemen, we can see that, look, ready to farm. You can stake your Exian slash, WETH for 40%, 41% APR. Okay, where else, ladies and gentlemen, do you get 40% in a year? This is an average of what, like 3.6% or something a month. So if you put in, let's just say $10,000, you would be making roughly 360 bucks just from staking, right? So ladies and gentlemen, I mean, this is really fantastic. I might actually have to buy some next level Exian, you know, for very, very cheap, which we'll be talking about very, very soon, and stake because 3.6% a month. My God, I mean, banks promise you, roughly 2% a year, depending on where you're at and which bank and stuff. And I get it. Banks and this is not the same, but this end of the day, it still prints the same amount of money for me. And this prints even more and quicker. So, there's no risk involved in this, right? There's practically no risk. Of course, technically a little bit, but for me, there's very minimal risk when it comes to this because of where we're at in the markets, where how long I would be staking for, and of course the price. Before we jump into the price, ladies and gentlemen, right? There's two more things I want to break down. I want to break down the basics of Exian, right? We can see we rank 149 out of 9,488 active cryptos, 370 million market cap, 15 million volume. In the last month, we're down 6.5%. In the last 7 days, we haven't really moved. We can see only 0.58%. And in the last day, 1.58%. So, yeah, overall, we can just see the chart has been going sideways, which is obviously a good sign. Now, I'm not sure if this worked last time, but don't know which crypto was. When I clicked it, it didn't even show the holders. We can see, yeah, no, we have been rising in holders consistently, ladies and gentlemen. It's a very, very nice, good, and warming sign for me, right? Seeing holders go up while price kind of goes sideways or down means that there's demand and people see the vision with this project. Ladies and gentlemen, the time to get serious is now. The next few months are going to be the most crucial time of your lives. Okay. We're going to have crypto exploding, and this is the time to get a portfolio review. Right? You got to make sure you have the right cryptos. You don't want any old or dead coins, or you don't want anything that can give you little profits, right? So we provide a portfolio review. We've also been smashing it with the high probability meme coins, we hit an 11x, an 8x, and 5.5x in recent times. We also provide a weekly report on the crypto data, on the crypto analysis, and of course, ladies and gentlemen, on other altcoins as well. You get all this and a bunch more other benefits. Highly recommend joining the private community. Ladies and gentlemen, let's make some money. Now, one other thing I do want to talk about for a little bit is this, right? We already have a 93% chance of rate cuts happening. All right. 93% people. Okay. So this is going to be very, very fantastic for us, right? Last time before we got the rate cuts, we said how there's going to be at least two rate cuts this year, and even potentially three. We got one, and now there's a 93% chance that we get another. So, crypto and everything should be very, very bullish over the next couple of months. And heading to 2026, it should be really, really good for us, right? We can see, ladies and gentlemen, if we scroll down though to December 10th, there's a very, very high chance at this point in time that we have another rate cut. So we actually might get three rate cuts in total from September till December, which is crazy, right? Which is crazy. Obviously, really, really good for something like crypto, really good for the future of crypto, with also all the innovation that's happening. And, Xian doing its part with in terms of updates and everything. I mean, things are just looking good. Xian is doing its thing. The countries with adoption, America are doing their thing, and the rate cuts are also going to do their thing. So we should be seeing a triple positive effect over the next few months for our beloved coins. And even if we go, I mean, just for fun and see what the rate cuts are expected to be by January 2026. Remember, this data is not going to be this accurate at this point, but there's even already, a 50% chance that we're going to be still the same by the time, when December hits, and if it cuts, right, there's a 50% chance we'll stay the same. There's still already a 30% chance it's going to cut again. And of course, here there's even a lower percent chance. But ladies and gentlemen, I mean, it's already insane that the percentages are in our favor so heavily. I'm really, really excited for this price action to be favoring us. Now, we can see the price action over the last few weeks hasn't really favored us. So we can see we have this top over here, we have this lower high, right? We broke this structure down here, which kind of turned into some type of resistance, because when we go and look, we can see boom over here, right? We rejected multiple times. We are consistently closing lower and lower. Now, you know me, I've already said that I do expect for these lows to get swept, right? I expect these lows to get swept because I expect there to be October manipulation, right? October manipulation. And this price action is just really, really weak and terrible, to be honest. And ladies and gentlemen, like I said before, and just in case you missed it, because I was wrong about some previous price action, which obviously I'm never always going to be right 100%, right? But I did believe there's going to be a strong chance of reversals here. This for me is a sniper entry. I am looking to be buying a lot of Xian. I have a price limit over at 0.009, and that is going to be a discounted price from even just here, roughly of 15%, right? Roughly 15%. So that means I get to have 15% more Xian for the same amount of money. So I'm really, really excited, right? I'm really, really excited to see how the next couple of days unfold. We can overall see, ladies and gentlemen, that we are kind of just in this type of trend line, right? We haven't really broke out of it. There's been times where there's a little bit of hope, but then we just kind of crumbled underneath. And of course, if we want to be very nitpicky with certain things, we could just say that we are like this as well, but it doesn't really matter too much. But overall, ladies and gentlemen, I'm super excited to see how XCN plays out. I don't really think this area is going to get swept. But if this area for some reason does get swept, this 0.0075, I probably will be buying once again. But that's going to be my last purchase of Xian until I see more data. And that should be the final manipulation. I don't think we're going to be correcting this whole move down here, right? All of this imbalance down here. It would really, really surprise me if we get a full-on correction, all of this, right? Because we can even see in the history of Xian that this could have technically got corrected, but it didn't. So yeah, that is ladies and gentlemen. Hope you guys enjoy, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Goodbye.